Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today, we're tackling a question that's popped up quite a bit. Is now actually a good time to buy shares in Warner Bros. Discovery? It's a company going through some massive changes, so we're going to sift through the news, the financials, market buzz, try to get to the real story here. Figure out if it can navigate this tricky period and potentially be a solid investment for you. Before we dive in, just a quick reminder, if you find these chats valuable, please do hit subscribe, maybe give us a like, leave a comment. We appreciate it. And hey, if there's another company you're curious about, let us know down below in the comments. We might just cover it next. All right, and to help us make sense of all the complexity around Warner Bros. Discovery, we've got our expert here, ready to break it down.
Ready when you are. It's certainly a company with a lot going on right now.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Warner Bros. Discovery. It feels like they've been incredibly busy lately. What's the big picture been over the last, say, 3 months? July to September 2025.
Yeah, busy is putting it mildly. High level. They've been juggling major leadership changes, pushing hard towards that big corporate split they announced, and all the while dealing with some pretty intense speculation about mergers and acquisitions. M&A chatter is everywhere.
Right, the split and the M&A rumors seem to be the dominant theme.
Exactly. So looking at September specifically, they appointed Brad Singer as CFO for the Warner Bros. Part after the separation. That's a concrete step, shows they're serious about the split timeline.
Okay, putting people in place for the future entities.
Precisely. Then you had those reports, pretty strong ones, that Paramount is prepping a big bid for all of Warner Bros. Discovery.
The whole company, not just pieces.
The report suggests the whole thing, yeah. And that a competitive process might kick off soon. It really should the pot. And alongside that, Warner Bros. Discovery was hitting multiple investor conferences, basically keeping communication lines open while all this M&A talk is swirling.
Makes sense. Keep investors in the loop, or try to. What about August?
August was also packed. Their Q2 earnings came out on August 7th, giving us some, fresh financial numbers right in the middle of this transition. They also clarified the names for the company's post-split and announced more leadership roles for those separate media and entertainment assets, again, building out that future structure.
More clarity on what the two companies will actually look like.
Right. But the big thing in August, I think, was the M&A speculation really ramping up after news broke that they might sell a 20% stake in the studio's HBO assets before the main separation.
So not just planning the split, but maybe bringing in partners even sooner.
Exactly. That signaled a real willingness to potentially reshape ownership and maybe unlock value even ahead of the full spring 2026 target they set.
Interesting. And July was when they formally announced the split plan.
Right. That's right. July was the formal announcement, splitting into two companies, one focused on streaming and studios, the other on the traditional networks. The goal being, to let the market value each part on its own merits. Target, spring 2026. They were also busy managing the balance sheet, things like cash tender offers for debt, trying to get their financial house in order amidst everything else. Oh, and there was that Summer of Superman charity campaign, too. A bit of positive PR alongside the heavy corporate moves.
It really is fascinating how many fronts they're moving on simultaneously. That split, the potential stake sale, the M&A rumors. It's a lot. So that brings us to the now, and looking ahead, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. What should we be watching for with Warner Bros. Discovery in the next 3 months? October through January 2026.
Yeah, this next quarter is absolutely pivotal. There are some key dates and ongoing situations to track. First up, October 25th, that's the Q3 2025 earnings report.
Okay, always important, but maybe especially so now.
Definitely. Everyone will be looking for clarity on the financial impact of the separation moves, any changes in revenue trends, maybe new guidance on cost savings. It's crucial. Then, around mid-November, November 15th, keep an eye on potential ETF rebalancing in the media sector.
How does that impact things?
Well, it can cause some stock price volatility. Large funds might have to adjust their holdings of Warner Bros. Discovery, which could mean significant buying or selling pressure unrelated to company news.
Got it. So external market mechanics.
Exactly. Then heading towards the holidays, around November 28th, we'll get updates on their holiday content slate, how movies are doing at the box office, streaming performance. That could influence near-term revenue perception and, importantly, how attractive those assets look to any potential suitors.
Right. Performance matters, especially if someone's thinking of buying.
Absolutely. December 10th brings the principal institutional shareholder disclosure. That shows us which big funds are buying or selling. Always interesting to see where the smart money is or isn't going. And looking into next year, January 15th, 2026, we'll likely get a Q4 earnings pre-announcement, or at least some guidance for the full year results. Sets the tone early.
Okay, so those are the known dates. What about the M&A speculation? That seems like the big wild card.
It really is. The rumors are flying. As we mentioned, multiple reports point to Paramount prepping a formal, mostly cash offer for the whole company. The price range being talked about is $20 to $22 to $22.50 per share.
Which would be a nice bump from where it's trading now.
A very nice bump, yes.
Right.
That's the big one everyone's watching. Now, analysts think a Comcast counteroffer is less likely, but, even the threat of one could potentially push up Warner Bros. Discovery's valuation if a bidding war started.
Creates competitive tension.
Right. And then there's the more, let's say, speculative talk about a tech giant, maybe an Amazon or an Apple, getting interested in the streaming and studio assets after the split happens.
Wow, that would be a whole different ballgame.
Huge implications, yeah. But likely further down the road, if at all. And don't forget that potential 20% stake sale in Studios HBO before the split. If they pull that off, bringing in a strategic partner or private equity, it could seriously reshape the company's trajectory and valuation, even without a full sale.
So many potential paths here.
Exactly. This whole period, the next few months, it's defined by their internal reshaping and these major external forces, mostly M&A. It's a really critical juncture.
So with all this strategic maneuvering and speculation swirling, what does the actual financial picture look like? What are the fundamentals telling us about Warner Bros. Discovery's health and performance? Strategy is one thing, numbers are another.
Absolutely crucial question. Let's look at the data from their last full year report, the FY 2024 10K. Total revenues came in at $41.3 billion. That was actually down slightly from $41.7 billion the year before.
Not growing the top line then.
Not in FY 2024, no. And maybe more concerning for investors, the net loss attributable to the company actually widened. It was $2.77 billion compared to a $2.02 billion loss in FY 2023.
Oof. So profitability is still a struggle.
It is. They point to integration costs from the big merger and, a generally soft economy impacting things. Adjusted EBITDA, which strips out some items, was $9.2 billion, but profit margins are definitely pressured. And looking ahead to FY 2025, their guidance suggests maybe mid-single-digit revenue growth, which is better, but there's still no clear path back to net profitability expected in that guidance.
Okay, that's a key takeaway. No clear profit inflection point guided yet. What about the balance sheet? Debt is always a big topic with them.
Huge topic. As of the end of 2024, total debt was $43.4 billion. Now, that is down from $45.3 billion a year before, so they are making progress on paying it down. That's positive.
Okay, deleveraging is happening, albeit maybe slowly.
Slowly, yes. Cash on hand was $3.6 billion, down from $4.4 billion. Free cash flow for the year was $3.3 billion, which was a bit better than the $3.0 billion in 2023. But here's the kicker. That net debt to EBITDA ratio is sitting around 4.3x.
And how does that compare?
It's high. Really high compared to most of their major media peers. It signals significant leverage risk, meaning, less financial flexibility, makes every bet they place a bit riskier.
Right, less room for error with that much debt. How about their position in the market overall?
Well, they are undeniably a major global media player. They own incredible assets, HBO, the Warner Bros. Studio, Discovery's networks. That content library is deep and valuable long-term.
Can't argue with the quality of the assets.
No, you can't. But their direct-to-consumer streaming services, Max and Discovery plus they're still lagging behind the big guys like Netflix and Disney plus SIA, both in terms of subscriber growth and, critically, profitability. So they have great content, but making money directly from streaming it while battling cord cutting in their traditional business, that remains the core challenge. The streaming wars are fierce.
Okay, those numbers, especially the debt and the widening loss, paint a pretty challenging picture. Feels like they're navigating some rough waters financially. What about the technical side? Are the stock charts reflecting this pressure? Or is there maybe a different story traders are seeing?
It's interesting. The technicals offer a slightly more mixed, maybe even cautiously optimistic view compared to just the raw fundamentals right now. Over the last month or so, the stock's been bouncing around, quite volatile, mainly between $14 and $16.50. You've got clear support holding around that $14 level.
I mean, buyers tend to step in there.
Exactly. And resistance, where sellers tend to emerge, seems to be in that $16.50 to $17 zone. But what's caught some traders' eyes recently is that the 50-day moving average, sort of a shorter-term trend indicator, crossed above the 200-day moving average, a longer-term one.
The golden cross.
That's the one. It can be a bullish signal suggesting momentum might be shifting upwards. Now, other indicators are more neutral. The RSI, Relative Strength Index, is around 54, not really overbought or oversold. And the MCD indicator, which also tracks momentum, is trending just slightly positive. So you've got maybe some mild upward momentum hinted at by the technicals.
Still volatile.
But still very volatile, yes.
Mm.
The technicals offer a bit of hope, perhaps fueled by the M&A talk, but it's definitely not a smooth upward trend yet. Choppy is a good word for it.
So given the challenging fundamentals, the volatile but maybe slightly hopeful technicals, and all the M&A buzz, what's the general feeling, the sentiment around Warner Bros. Discovery right now? It sounds incredibly mixed.
It really is. You see it clearly in the analyst ratings. They're all over the place. For example, back on August 8th, Morgan Stanley upgraded the stock to overweight, gave it a $19 price target. Their reasoning was improved cash flow and cost-cutting synergies finally kicking in. They see the value.
Okay, so some optimism there.
But then, just a week later, August 15th, Goldman Sachs downgraded it to neutral. They're still worried about that ongoing debt burden and the risks involved in integrating such massive companies.
So caution from them. Polar opposite views, almost.
Pretty much. And the news headlines reflect that, too. You see stories about Max maybe slowing down in subscriber growth, but then maybe excitement about an upcoming DC movie. It pulls sentiment back and forth.
What about insiders? Are executives buying the stock?
Not really seeing significant insider buying in the last quarter. There were some minor sales by a couple of non-executive directors back in August, but nothing major. The lack of big buys doesn't send a strong signal of confidence from the inside, though it doesn't automatically mean disaster either.
And sentiment out on social media among retail investors.
I'd call it cautiously neutral. There's definitely skepticism. People seem to be waiting for more proof that the turnaround is really taking hold, that the debt is coming down faster, that streaming can become profitable. It's a show-me story right now.
Okay, that makes sense. So this brings us to maybe the most critical point for potential investors. What are the biggest risks they need to be aware of here? It sounds like there are quite a few lurking.
There are definitely significant risks, both specific to the company and broader market ones. Let's start with the company-specific stuff. First and foremost, that high leverage. The 4.3x net debt to EBITDA is a major overhang. It limits their financial flexibility, makes them more vulnerable to economic shocks or rising interest rates.
The debt burden looms large.
It really does. Second, integration risk. Merging Warner Media and Discovery was massive, making sure they actually capture all the promised cost savings, synergies, and get the different corporate cultures to mesh well. That's still an ongoing challenge. It's complex. And third, the core business challenge. Growing that direct-to-consumer streaming business profitably while managing the decline in the traditional cable network segment. That's the fundamental industry shift they're grappling with.
So debt, integration, and the streaming transition. What about broader risks?
Well, the whole media sector is facing headwinds. You've got accelerating cord cutting hitting the network side, intense, costly competition in streaming, content costs are rising, and the global advertising market can be cyclical and has been a bit soft.
So industry-wide pressures on top of their own issues.
Exactly. Plus, things like foreign exchange rates can impact international earnings, and there's always the potential for increased regulatory scrutiny in the media space. Lots to consider.
Okay, so pulling all of this together, the strategy, the financials, the technicals, sentiment, risks. What's the overall investment thesis, if you had to rate it?
All right, if we have to put a number on it, based on everything we've discussed, we'd rate Warner Bros. Discovery around a 5.5 out of 10 right now.
A 5.5. So slightly below average, leaning cautious. What's the rationale behind that number?
The rationale is basically this. Yes, Warner Bros. Discovery owns incredibly valuable brands and content that IP is top tier. It's a huge, diversified media company. That's the bull case. But that heavy debt load, the pressured profit margins we talked about, and the real execution risks involved in the integration and strategic shifts, those significantly limit the upside potential, at least in the near term. While, okay, the technicals show maybe some faint bullish signals recently, and their cost-cutting might provide some valuation support, the strong industry headwinds and the lack of a clear, visible path back to strong earnings growth are major risks.
So what kind of investment horizon does that suggest? Who is this stock potentially right for?
Given that mix, it seems better suited right now for short-term trading rather than a long-term buy-and-hold investment. You know, maybe playing the volatility around earnings reports or trying to trade specific catalysts like M&A news.
Some more tactical plays than a core holding.
I think so, yes. Until we see more concrete evidence of successful deleveraging and sustained improvement in those streaming profit margins, a long-term commitment feels premature for many investors.
Right, a 5.5 out of 10. That's a pretty clear signal for caution, even with the potential M&A excitement. It seems like that buyout potential is the main thing keeping the stock from maybe being lower.
That's a very fair assessment. The M&A speculation definitely provides a floor and a potential upside catalyst that isn't strictly based on current fundamentals. For traders willing to bet on that outcome, it changes the calculation.
That's the big if.
It's the big if, exactly. If that Paramount bid or another one materializes at that $22.50 range, that's a significant win short term. But you're betting on an event, not necessarily on the underlying business turning around quickly on its own. High risk, potential high reward.
So wrapping this up, for everyone asking, is now a good time to buy Warner Bros. Discovery? It's definitely not a simple yes or no answer, is it?
Not at all. You've got these incredibly valuable assets and a company actively trying to restructure and unlock value, set against really significant headwinds like massive debt and fierce industry competition.
And the M&A possibility just hangs over everything as a major unknown.
Precisely. That's the core tension here. Strong assets, big plans, but also big debts and big challenges. The M&A angle is the wild card that could change the narrative quickly, but it's far from guaranteed.
Which leaves us with a really interesting question to ponder. As Warner Bros. Discovery tries to navigate this massive transformation in a rapidly changing media world, can it successfully manage its debt and overcome these industry pressures to become a true long-term growth story? Or is its primary appeal right now more as a target for short-term trading and potential acquisition plays? Something for you all to think about. Thanks for joining us for this discussion today. As always, keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll talk to you again soon on Investing Talk Podcast.